Reynolds and SunRingle, Bubba and Super Bubba rear hub service. This video covers the hub service for these Reynolds and SunRingle rear hubs. Assemble these tools and parts and let's get started. The rear hubs include these parts: Freehub body, end caps, ratchet rings, lock ring, spacer tube, axle, bearings, hub shell, crush tube. We will demonstrate the service using a bare hub. When working on a complete wheel, remove the cassette and brake rotor. Bubba and Super Bubba use our clocked technology and have 2 ratchet rings with 2 sets of pawls. Bubba X and Super Bubba X have 1 ratchet ring and 1 set of pawls. Follow the instructions based on your hub type. Remove both end caps by pulling them straight off the axle. Slide the Freehub body off the axle by gently pulling it away from the hub shell. It may help to turn it counterclockwise while pulling. Remove the crush tube. Remove the axle by sliding it out of either side of the hub shell. Remove the lock ring with a pin spanner by rotating it clockwise. To aid in removing the lock ring, install 2 brake rotor screws in the hub, 180 degrees from each other. Use the screws to secure the hub in a vise. Use a 90-degree pick tool to pry out the ratchet rings. Bubba X and Super Bubba X only use 1 ratchet ring. Remove the pawls and springs. They will slide out by hand. Remove the pawl split ring with the pick tool. Bubba X and Super Bubba X do not use a split ring. Remove the seal from the Freehub body. Remove the non-drive side bearing using a bearing puller or hammer and punch. When using a hammer and punch, you'll need to move aside the spacer tube between the bearings. Move the punch after each blow so you do not cause the bearing to bind in the bore. Remove the drive side bearing in the same manner. Remove the inner bearing on the Freehub body. Behind this bearing is a spacer. Remove the outer bearing on the Freehub body. Before reinstalling the bearings, clean and examine the hub using a lint-free towel and isopropyl alcohol. Lightly grease the new bearing with high-quality bicycle grease. Press the bearing into the non-drive side of the hub. Install the spacer. Lightly grease and press in the drive side bearing. Lightly grease and press in the inside bearing on the Freehub body. Install the spacer. Lightly grease and press in the outside bearing. Before Freehub reassembly, clean and examine the parts using a lint-free towel and isopropyl alcohol. Lightly lubricate the pawl seats with Freehub body grease. Install the lower set of springs and pawls. Bubba X and Super Bubba X have one row of 6 pawls. For Bubba and Super Bubba, install the pawl split ring onto the Freehub and install the second set of springs and pawls. Install the seal on the Freehub body. The lip must face out toward the cassette. It must also sit in its groove without being twisted, or you will experience high drag. Lightly lubricate the seal with Freehub oil. Lubricate the pawls and springs with Freehub body grease for quieter operation and longer service life. Use Freehub oil for louder operation and improved low temperature operation. Lightly grease the outside of the ratchet ring with high-quality bicycle grease. With the groove on the face of the ratchet ring facing outward, slide the first ratchet ring down into the hub. Make sure you have the first lobe of the ratchet ring in the first notch of the hub. For 8 degrees of engagement, install the second ratchet ring like the first, with the groove up and the first lobe on the ratchet ring in the first notch of the hub. The teeth on both ratchet rings will line up with each other. For 4 degrees of engagement, install the second ratchet ring with the groove up and the first lobe on the ratchet ring in the second notch of the hub. Notice that the teeth of the ratchet rings are slightly offset from each other. Reinstall the lock ring with the pin spanner tool, turning it counterclockwise. Lightly grease the outside of the ratchet ring with high-quality bicycle grease. With the groove on the face of the ratchet ring facing outward, slide the ratchet ring down into the hub. Make sure you have the first lobe of the ratchet ring in the first notch of the hub. Reinstall the lock ring with the pin spanner tool, turning it counterclockwise. Lightly grease the axle with high-quality bicycle grease. Slide the axle back into the hub. Install the crush tube. Install the Freehub body onto the axle. Gently rotate counterclockwise as you push the Freehub and hub together. Make sure the seal does not get folded over. Press on the non-drive side cap. Press until the cap touches the hub bearing. This sets the axle in place. Lastly, press on the drive side end cap. You have completed the process of disassembly, service, and reassembly for these Reynolds and SunRingle rear hubs. Continue to our YouTube channel and hayesbicycle.com for more maintenance procedures and assembly instructions. Thank you for riding with Reynolds and SunRingle.